Boy, that's a home run there at that press conference. Dana Brown, of course, new Astro general manager. Let's have some fun. And I'm going to bring up Seton Hall in the late 80s because that was the worst loss in the history of college basketball, that awful call. They should have won the damn game. Championship game in Seattle. He was on campus, Seton Hall in Michigan. What do you remember, Mr. Brown, on that game? Let me hear. Go ahead.
Well, I'll tell you what I remember. I remember all of the students who were hanging out. There was a room full of us. And at the end of the day, we just freaked out on the call. And, it's a heartbreaking loss. So I don't like to revisit it.
Heartbreak. John Clockerty, yeah, you should have won the championship 100%. All right, let's go through your path. You were drafted out of Seton Hall. You played on a great team and drafted minor leagues. Give me a little rundown on there first, Dana. Let me hear. Go ahead.
Yeah, so drafted out of Seton Hall and, of course, played with some really good players at Seton Hall. Biggio, Mo Vaughn, Valentin, Kevin Morton, all major league players at the time we were all there. In fact, we pick on Valentin because he played 12 years in the big leagues or something like that, and he hit ninth on our team. So I was drafted out of Seton Hall and played 3 years in the Phillies organization. Was up to Double-A, coached 2 years after that, and right after that I went into scouting. Got into scouting and ended up in the front office about 8 years later with Omar Minaya, and then the rest is history. I've been in the front office ever since.
All right, did you think about being a manager and going to coaching instead of being in the front office and being on the field as a manager? Did you think about that instead? What made you take the scouting route? Let me hear there.
Yeah, the scouting route was more appealing because, I was very interested in traveling and getting, more interested in the front office. So the scouting part was a better route for me. And I knew I could move up in the ranks, become a cross-checker, scouting director, which is the front office. And then your career has a chance to take off. As opposed to being in the minor leagues, it's tough, tough bus rides. The season's long. You're away from your family from the beginning of February, the end of February to the beginning of September.
Yeah, excellent. Good answers, Dana. All right, listen, you earned this. Boy, you've been in baseball a long, long time. Did you think that you would never get a chance? I mean, you're in your mid-50s. You graduated in 89. I mean, you work for Anthopoulos, but, a lot of these guys do this and they don't get a crack. So that probably thought crossed your mind, too. Did you ever get despondent? Boy, when am I going to be named the general manager? How about that for a second?
Absolutely. Been in the game for 33 years, was a scouting director for a long time. And at the end of the day, we were signing really good players. In fact, I gave, Alex his first job when Omar Minaya was given the opportunity. And, Bud Selig hired him, and then Omar hired me. I hired Alex. And we're both products of what Bud Selig started. And so, I went on a few interviews. I had the interview with the Mets in 2010. Then I had the interview with Seattle in 2015. And I remember Manfred after the Seattle interview telling me, hey, stay the course. This is going to work out. I heard you had a really good interview in Seattle. And then, of course, now in 2023, I finally got the opportunity. So I'm excited about it.
Well, how about that? Rob tracked you down. I like to hear that with the Seattle thing. All right, listen, I'm sure you did a couple of interviews with Jim. I'm sure you were a little pins and needles there the last few days. Did you feel very confident? You don't know? You had a lot of other good candidates. Give me your thought process. I'm sure you did too. Give me your thought process before you got the job, if you think you were going to get the job, Dana. How about that?
Yeah, I thought we hit it off right away when I came in for the first interview. As I said before, he's high strung. I'm from the Northeast, and I thought it was the perfect storm. I thought he was looking for a guy that could, sign a lot of good players. And I know that they've had a good track record here of signing players. So I thought it was a perfect fit. It was a perfect storm. I left the interview feeling like I was going to get the job. In fact, before we did the second round, not so much of interviews, but we did a second round of a case study. I thought the case study that I performed was really good, and I felt confident. Put it that way. I felt as confident as I did in the first two interviews I got. And I even told my wife, I think I got a chance of getting this.
No, there you go. Excellent answer. Wow, how about that? All right, how about now? Listen, I know Dusty's great. We all love Dusty. I know if you're the GM, you'd love to be able to pick a manager. You know that everybody wants to pick their own manager. You know, one day you'll probably get a chance. Dusty is 73 years of age. Did that deter you at all? Well, they already got a manager there. He's the all-time great. He's a Hall of Famer. I can't have as much input. Did that deter you at all, Dana, as far as the Astros scenario is concerned?
Not at all. Dusty's the baseball man. In fact, I've had conversations with Dusty in the past. I met him at the Buck O'Neill Scouts Associations that they do every year. So I had talked to Dusty before, and then I talked to him right after I got the job. We had a great conversation. He's a baseball man through and through. I grew up in the 70s as a kid. My younger brother was a big-time Dodger fan. I remember Dusty Baker and all of his track record and success as a big league player. So I knew that this guy was a baseball guy, and he's a winner. So he's interested in winning, and we can be very honest with each other. We talked about it on the phone. I'm going to tell him what I think. He can tell me what he thinks, and we'll cut it straight with each other.
Very, not often that the general manager job opens up on a World Series championship team. I mean, most of these GM jobs are teams that aren't any good. You're walking into a spot where they're the best team in baseball, so that brings a little extra subtle pressure for you, Dana. I know you probably can handle that, but discuss that for a sec. Let me hear.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's really tough when you have to rebuild and start from the ground up. You know, I like to think that the fact that I waited so long, this is like a present for me for waiting so long to get the opportunity. And so what I want to do is come in here and try to continue that long term by bringing in good players, whether it's from the draft, whether it's from trade, whatever it may be. And I think that's what I'm good at. That's my trademark. I want to be one of those guys to come in and just continue to sign good players. And if you can put good product on the field, you give the manager a lot to work with, you got a chance to continue the winning long term.
All right, Jackie Robinson's birthday yesterday. You are the 7th executive. Bob Watson, of course, the old days with the Yankees. I know you were in New York at the time. You know something about him, too. But you're the 7th African-American general manager now, you know, with Lucas and Watson and Kenny Williams and Michael Hill and Dave Stewart. And now you, with Jackie, let's talk about that for a second. You're a baseball guy. You don't want to think about that? Does that mean an extra something to you? Give me your thoughts about being the 7th African-American who's a general manager of a major league team.
No, it's very special. I mean, it's creating an opportunity, and I take this position very seriously because I know that I want to be a cloud of witness for, like the other guys, where all together we can be cloud of witnesses for those who are coming behind us, that it's attainable. And I know it's very difficult, but, you know, what Manfred and those guys did, you know, was create an opportunity, open up a door for us to interview and get these jobs. I think that there's more qualified African Americans who can run Major League Baseball teams, and I have to be a witness to others, and I have to do a good job. I mean, there's a little bit of added pressure, but I'm okay with it. I have the heartbeat for it.
There you go. Don't disappear now in the course of the year. Let's hear from you every now and then. Congratulations. Great to see you. Keep up the good work. Appreciate you getting this job. Thanks very much.